former president, now he's former president. He is the president. Whether you have the liberals,
Shonda.
Yeah, he's the president. Despite what some liberals out there are saying, that Kamala is really the president. Made a statement suggesting that if Hamas didn't release all the remaining hostages by noon on Saturday, he would cancel the ceasefire agreement, and said all hell is going to break out. He emphasized that it was his personal opinion and that Israel could override his suggestion. Okay.
Well, I'm sure that's what Israel will do. Oh, you're encouraging us to go and commit genocide? Oh, no, sir. Thank you. We don't want to do that. Of course they do. They wait for the red carpet.
Now that's political correctness, Orlando.
He is both. Technically, he's both.
That's right.
That's how that works. But, what he's going to do as far as what goes on in Israel is that they're having a blank check.
Here's what he said last night to Mr. Bear at the Super Bowl.
With Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Really great.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I can't.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I think this is where he mentions military, though. Keep going. I think he mentions military, but then, of course, nobody says, hold on a second. Did you suggest an audit of the Pentagon?
I just want to say one more time that Elon is terrific. Really, really terrific person.
Campaigned on this, Brett.
Said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone in the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you
where
found
the money's
significant
going.
things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scale.
All goes to plan. When do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion.
Okay, so that's where he is wrong. Learn MMT, even if you don't agree.
He goes into that like somehow he has an obligation because he's such a shrewd businessman to like fix the budget situation.
And if you have such a problem, and if you have a problem with a trade deficit, we have exported our jobs to third world countries to pay pennies on the dollar so that your rich corporate friends can become masters of the universe and screw workers altogether. So are you going to address that problem?
Well, I'm just curious how it's going to go when he and Elon break up, like how that'll go. But continue.
That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen. Build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2, but we'll build
Where's
safe
that number
communities.
from?
A little bit.
Where's that number? Because the last time he was talking, he said 1.3 million people, and it was a temporary. And then Rubio walked back. So no, we're just going to have them leave temporarily while we rebuild this beautiful paradise for them. Yes, I'm sure that's who you're rebuilding it for. And now he's saying 1.9 million people.
At a bare minimum, and this is at a minimum, 300,000 people have been mass murdered. As many as just under 1 million have been killed.
Yeah.
It's probably
that sounds a lot more realistic.
Yeah. And probably somewhere in between. So do you think it's very plausible that at least 500,000 people have been mass slaughtered in Gaza? Yeah.
Oh, easily. The problem is the number, when they're telling you the numbers, they're only including people that are killed by a direct military assault. That is not how you count people in a genocide. If that's how you counted people in a genocide, then the Holocaust numbers would be significantly less too. A hell ton of people died in concentration camps from disease. So is that not part of the numbers? Like, this is just I am so.
The the best thing that we have going for us with him in the White House is that he genuinely does not want to be a wartime president. Like, he doesn't want the burden of having to deal with mass slaughter happening on his watch. Joe Biden.
Well, maybe he'll use budget. If he wants to get us out of all these wars by citing budget concerns, all for it. Fine. I don't care.
Whatever works.
That's what I mean. I don't care.
$36 trillion in debt. It's really incredible how debt loaded
tell
we
you
are.
how Scheinbaum's going to manhandle him. We count all the ways.
He sees her as a worthy foe. He knows to watch his step.
Away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
Spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
That part's true. And at the end of the day, Egypt and Jordan are our bitch. And that is true. But I don't think on this. And I think he is so ignorant. Like, the way he talks about Gaza and Palestine, like it's just any real estate transaction, like a subdivision, and we're just gonna, and as if it's interchangeable with any other land. No, they're not coming back. We're gonna use this we'll give them something better. He's so ignorant. I honestly, I feel like I could jump out of my skin.
David, we're not going to agree on this. I don't think that's Trump's MO. It's just not what he wants. I don't think
he understands. I think he's incredibly ignorant.
I think he is incredibly ignorant.
I think that he doesn't want to be that, but I think he is that. So both of those things are true. But he is so unbelievably uninformed and misinformed about Palestine, probably for a myriad of reasons. I mean, his sources are Miriam Adelson and Kushner. But like, this doesn't work. So again, this brings me to the difference between what Trump says and what Trump can do. When Trump says, I'm going to take away birthright citizenship, he can't do that. It can't be done by him. It cannot be done by him. So he can say that, he can think that, but he can't do that. When Trump says we're going to call it the Gulf of America, well, that's great. You can say that, and you can put it in whatever publications you have control over, and you can call it that, but it doesn't change it. It's still the Gulf of Mexico. So he can say a lot of things.
He really signed an executive order saying that it's now the Gulf of America.
Yes, and I understand that. But what does that mean?
What does it mean?
It means
what's
nothing.
The value in it?
None. Because here's the thing is that actually, I know this is going to be shocking to people, but the Gulf of Mexico existed before America. And the rest of the world actually in so many places, so much older than us, and they actually had names for things, and it doesn't involve us. But it's fascinating. But what Trump doesn't realize is things like geography is not just we're not in charge of it. Okay. It's actually a global thing. And there's panels and groups and cartographers and scholars and all sorts of people around the whole world that determine things. And it is actually based on like consensus and voting and very expert people when places are rechanged and boundaries are changed. He cannot just do that. He cannot just do that. So yes, in United States government-funded publications, he can change the name if he wants to change the name. But that doesn't mean that the name is actually changed. That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Fucking
Shonda
stupid.
with the $5. Hi, guys. I was going to ask if you could get Chris Hedges.
I love Chris
on
Hedges.
When he was mentioned. Then y'all just said he was going to be here. Well, he's going to be.
I guess you're in Seattle.
Yeah, he's going to be on the super stream. We've gotten him on once before. We've tried. He's
well, okay. Let us clarify that. We did not really get him on. Katie got him on because she co-hosted the Assange-a-thon with me, and he was on for the Assange-a-thon. Now, I would love to have had him on when we were doing airing of grievances, because I think he would be an amazingly good airer of grievances. He comes.
Are we bringing it back? Are we bringing it back?
I don't know. I don't know. I got to think about it. But you know what? Somebody did tell me that the entire concept, of course, had nothing to do with Jerry. And it has everything to do with a guy that I guess Larry David knew, and it was an actual true story. So whoever Frank Costanza.
I just wish Larry David would come out and say that we're not for this shit. But
no, because he might be. So it doesn't matter. I'd love to have Chris Hedges on. We could try to get Chris. You know, look, Max is directly linked. Max might be able to facilitate that for us. We might have to like work that.
We need to get Max on already. I mean, that's just forever.
You're talking about, I'm talking about Max Alvarez.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Max Alvarez is works with Chris, like directly, like
did work with Chris.
Correct. But they're in contact.
Yalabite 199. Thank you so much. Biofuels and nuclear energy is the real clean energy. Hey, look, anything that Capitol Hill says is bad is generally good. That's the way I see it. Progressive Lefty, thanks for checking in with the $5. Trump is uninformed about almost everything.
That's a good point.
About Ukraine.
Very good point. But when I hear him talk so like cavalier about Gaza and that particular land, as if the rest of us have not been discussing the importance of that particular land forever, for him to make comments like it's just interchangeable and just any other real estate deal is so, it's extra.
Ignorant. Phil, thank you so much for the 1-month membership. And was there ever a medieval jester that became king? Who became king? Not that I'm aware of, but I guess you could say that he really is the insane clown president. So, yeah, he's quite entertaining.